the great hay shortage of 2019. Today I'm going to discuss the hay situation here in my part of Virginia and talk about the shortage of hay that is ongoing. I'm on the farm today. It's overcast, but I believe it's going to clear off. It's windy and it's cool, but it's not crazy cold. We've just had a lot of rain, and before that we had a real run of cold temperatures. And so this field that I'm in right now, one of the things that plagued us when we were making hay this past summer, and not just us but everybody, was the rain in the spring. It just rained and rained and rained, so you couldn't get in here and make hay and expect it to dry. When it did stop raining, the ground was saturated, and so if you cut hay, the moisture coming off the ground just up into your hay through evaporation would cause problems. When you drive around, your wheels would be wet. You just mashing hay into the ground, and that's bad enough. But even when there's no rain here in the mountains, we have a lot of thunderstorms, so our window to make hay frequently is 3 to 4 days. If we get 3 to 4 days, we can make hay, but we have a lot of afternoon thunderstorms, and that gets in the way of being able to get hay put up. And you'll have a run of a week or more sometimes where every evening there's a thunderstorm, and it might be every other day. But again, if you can't get a window 3 to 4 days, then you can't really make hay. I have had some questions, and people ask me, why do we use a hay tedder? And why do we use a mower conditioner? Why do we have to condition our hay? Well, when we cut our hay, if we can get the hay to dry quickly, we can fit our haying into these windows, these 3 to 4 day windows. I prefer 4 days even with a mower conditioner. The tedder picks the hay up and fluffs it and turns it over so that it has a better opportunity to dry, get it up off the ground so the hay can see as much air movement as possible. So in the spring we had a lot of rain, and then later in the summer, after our first cutting, everything turned dry, or there was hardly any rain at all. And I'll tell you how dry it was in this particular field. In our first cutting, we got 1,200 bales of hay. In our second cutting, we got 99 bales. That's how dry it got. And it didn't just affect us, it affected everybody. And so what's going on is prices are skyrocketing for bales of hay and round bales. And prices they're going to continue to go up. People are importing hay out of New York, Pennsylvania, different places, probably Canada, and to fill the shortage of hay. And so we're just about sold out. I'm going to be sorting some hay in the barn over here in just a few minutes, and I'll be talking about that. I've got some hay customers coming today. I'm not sure they're going to take all the hay I've got left. I don't have very many, so we'll talk about that and some of the hay customers. We make square bales of hay for horse customers. Some people with cattle will buy some square bales. Some of our lesser quality hay goes for cattle and goat hay. And so let me mosey over to the barn and we'll pick it up from there. So here at the barn, this is the hay that we've got left, and it's a variety of hay. And when we cut, we're trying to make a horse quality hay, but we also have some fields that we're taking back, and we have some rough patches of grass where we just kind of clean up and glean the hay, and people will buy that for bedding or for, like I say, for goats, cow hay, things like that. And some of it is hay that we've taken off of a field that we're trying to take back. We're basically just baling up the thatch, and you'd be amazed what people will buy. And we have customers that are interested in forage tested quality hay, which we have. We test our hay, our good hay. We test via Equianalytical's 603 trainer test, and it's a wet chemistry. And our hay typically tests low in sugar, starch, potassium, and iron. But some of this other hay, and we'll have a video on some of this thatch hay where we're taking back a little spot. It was pretty nasty, full of autumn olive sprigs and multiflora rose. But people buy that stuff, and we price it pretty cheap. And we're paying for our diesel and clearing the field of thatch for when we put it in hay next year. So these bottom bales, we'll sell those. They'll have a little bit of mold on the bottom. Some of them will have a lot of mold on the bottom, but people will buy them. Some hay might be a little bit dusty, and sometimes horse people will buy hay that's a little bit dusty, and they'll soak it so they can feed it. This hay right here was I think this is some of our better hay. I've said in other videos we primarily grow Timothy, and then I've got some hay down here that these misshaped bales. I'll give somebody a pretty decent price on that. This is actually some second cutting right here. This hay this has got some weeds in it. This was a patch of hay I cut, just a real small patch. And again, I've got some video coming of that. This hay over here is pretty decent hay, and it's been sold. We typically don't hold hay, but we've got some people that have been with us from the beginning, and if they say, I'll take 50 bales, if you can hold it, you can take it to the bank, that they'll come back and buy and pick up the hay. Everybody else, it's when you show up to buy the hay, we'll believe it when we see it. Not everybody else, but a lot of customers, they can be, they make big promises, and we never see them. So we're always kind of a little suspect when somebody says, we'll take all the hay you got. That's usually a red flag. We'll take all the hay you got, and then we never see them again. Got a customer that's going to take about 50 bales of this hay right here. And then this afternoon, I've got some customers coming that some of them are going to get some of this bottom bale hay, and some of them are going to get some of the more horse quality hay that we have. And trying to see if I can get in here. And So I'm not sure how many bales I've got left. I've got about 100. I've got at least 120 probably over in here, and then I've got a little bit of hay back in the corner there that we just walked by, and then I'm going to be out, and everybody else is out of hay too, and people are calling me, from 100 miles away, and they're saying the reason we're calling you is because you're the closest person with hay, and so the shortage is real, and we're in December. This is December 2019, and people will need to buy hay into April before things start turning green, where they can feed off their paddocks. So the price is just going to get higher and higher. And you go to a place like Tractor Supply and some of these other feed stores, and they have these compressed bales. They weigh like 40 pounds, but they're compressed. I guess compressed is some kind of magic word. I thought 40 pounds of hay was 40 pounds of hay, whether it was compressed or it wasn't compressed. And, $20 a bale. And I see people in these stores with these carts just rolling out with them right and left. And then they'll call me and want hay. And, they're wanting to pay $3 a bale, some ridiculous price, even when there's a glut of hay. And, but there's going to be a lot of people paying for those $20 bales of hay from these feed stores. And then we see hay coming in on Facebook. There's a page called Virginia Hay for Sale, and if you're on Facebook, I would encourage you to check that group out. It's interesting to watch the hay prices there as people bring hay in from out of state, and we're seeing prices north of $10, $10, $11, $12. I think last year I saw it as high as $14. There was a shortage of hay last year too. One of the things that's kind of compounded the situation is typically there's carryover. A lot of hay suppliers, they don't sell out, and so if you have a glut of hay, it gets worse because there are people that have hay left over from last year. So in 2018, the carryover was used up. So as we came into 2019, there was a shortage of hay, and there's no carryover, so that makes it even worse. And so, we tried to bale up everything we could, even the not so nice hay, because somebody can use it, and we wanted to with the drought and late in the summer, we wanted to get as much hay as we could. Now, from this barn door right here to the other side of the building and all the way to the end, this barn was full all the way back, and it was full all the way down both sides. And what you see is what we've got left. And it kind of looks like we got a fair amount of hay in here, and we do, but it doesn't take long. 50 and 100 bales, that's typically what we sell. We sell hay 50, 100 bales at a time, and people will make multiple trips. A lot of customers, we'll have, after they've been here a few times, they've bought 300 to 400 bales from us, and we like that. We built our barn to potentially accommodate a tractor trailer coming in here. The doors are high enough for that. It's funny, there's an enormous amount of labor in hay, and it's very physical. And we have a pan kicker on our baler that loads our wagons for us, and that's really nice as far as taking some labor out of the hay. But still, we have to hand stack it in here, and we're not ready to buy, an accumulator grapple setup just yet. We're doing pretty good with the pan kicker. I don't mind stacking hay, and we get it in the barn, and we can stack in the evenings or the next day or the following week. We don't have to be in a big rush to stack hay off of our wagons. So we kind of like the kicker wagons right now, and I'll talk more about that in other videos. And there's a reason why we do everything we do up here. Right, wrong, there is a reason. I can generally explain what I'm doing and why I'm doing. But there's this labor that goes into the hay. Some of these customers, and again, our primary customer is the horse customer, and we've had really good relationships with these horse customers, and I know some of them drive some of these hay producers crazy. I've got some friends that make and sell hay, and locally and in other states, and they just beside themselves with some of the goofiness with some of these horse hay customers. We've been pretty lucky. We've had a few oddballs, but on the whole, it's been pretty good. But the thing of it is, a lot of customers, potential customers, maybe customers that we don't get, they don't have a clue the investment that goes into making hay. The tractor, the baler, the hay cutter, the barn, the land, the taxes on the land, the consumables, the string, when you need it, the hay preservative. There's just a lot of cost that goes into making hay, and then you have all the labor of stacking the hay and loading it out. Well, the tractor trailers, we'd like to have some tractor trailers come in here and take 600 or 700 bales at a time. We built the barn with that in mind, with these larger doorways. The problem is the hay customer, they want you to sell your hay for $3 or $4 a bale, and then they want you to stack it on their trucks for them, and they want you to tie it down, and God forbid a bale comes loose and you're responsible. And then the people with the tractor trailers, they want to send a driver up here, and they want you to load the bales in the back of the tractor trailer at a low price. And I'm just getting too old to be doing that kind of labor. And after we handle the hay 2 or 3 times, that's enough. So right now the barrier for having a tractor trailer coming in is this. I tell the customer, sure, you can bring your tractor trailer in here and we'll load it up. We'll sell you a load, but you need to send a crew with you. And the answer I get back is, well, why don't you just hire some people? Well, it's not quite that simple anymore, just hiring some people. Now you got people that want to sue. You can't just hand somebody cash. Somebody gets hurt, you're liable. And then you got we're trying to be square with the tax code here. And you got a payroll and workman's comp and everything else. And so the customer with the tractor trailer, they talk to you like it's so easy. It's no problem, just get some kid to help. Well, it is a problem because there's so much liability and there's such a tendency to sue. Man, we can't take that risk. And what's interesting is, I tell the customer, bring your own crew. And they talk to me like it's so easy for me to gather a crew. Well, when I put it on them, then it's a showstopper because they don't want to go through the same thing. And they say, well, we'll just find their hay somewhere else. And I'm okay with that because we sell out. We're not making as much hay that we don't sell out. We tend to sell out every year. And I think even when we expand, which we're going to be doing fields like this with the autumn olive, all that'll be in hay eventually. And so again, there is a shortage of hay. It's pretty bad, and tempers are high on the Virginia Hay for Sale Facebook page. The moderators have even stopped, they curtail they'll put a stop to comments because the buyer, they want to know why the seller is ripping them off with these high prices. What happened, between June and December that the prices doubled? And I get some of that. We limit our price on how high we go. The way we handle it is, if you buy hay in June at a given price, when you get into December, we're going to give you the same price. We're not going to jack the hay up on you. But if you're just kind of shopping around and you can't find anything and we're like the last guy you call, yeah, you're going to pay more of a market-driven price. But even then, we're not going to stick it to you because, we'd rather have a repeat customer, or at least a potential for a repeat customer, than a customer that feels like they got burned and we'll never ever see them again. And we may not. It's funny how in hay, and I don't know how it is. Maybe some of you guys that are fellow haymakers that watch these videos, I'd be interested in your comments of how many repeat customers you actually have. We have repeat customers, and they take a goodly portion of our hay, but then we have customers that come and then you never see them again. And they're just buying, I guess they're just buying on impulse. They buy whoever's convenient. They'll be the first ones to bust the hay producer on their price for being too high. And they're also the first ones in line when somebody's got hay at a rock bottom price. And there's a lot of producers, they make 200 or 300 bales a year. You have to realize here in the mountains of Virginia, the fields are small, and you're not going to get thousands and thousands of bales off of one field. If you get when we get 1,000 bales off of the field that I talked about earlier, that's doing pretty good. But our fields, we have a series of fields, and they'll yield anywhere from 200 to 1,000 bales. But there's a lot of small fields in these mountains, and you're lucky to get a couple hundred bales out of them with fertilizer. And some of these people, they never fertilize their fields, they never put lime down, they never do anything. And they get a couple hundred, 200, 300, maybe 500 bales. And it's just whatever happens to grow. They don't spray it with weeds. And then they advertise it as horse quality hay. And it's not very good hay. But the thing of it is, some of these customers, they want the best for their prized horse, but when you get into the price, then they're willing to feed whatever. There used to be a commercial years and years ago, Trailblazer dog food, and they showed little snippets of customer loving their dog, and then they got to this one guy. He reminded me of Archie Bunker, and he said, dog food's dog food, feed them what's on sale. And that's what a lot of these horse customers do. They feed them what's on sale. And so a guy bales up a bunch of trash. He'll put it on Craigslist and he'll call it horse quality, which means nothing. And people figure, well, if it says horse, it must be okay, and the price is right, so we'll buy it. And then later in the year, they'll come to me and buy hay at our price, which is reasonable now because after their horses got the foxtail and it got into their gums, the seed, and they had the vet bill, then our hay wasn't quite so outrageous in price after all. So let me sort out a little bit of this hay. I want to make sure the people that I'm holding hay for, that I've got exactly what they need, and then I'll be in a better position, position to just let everything else go. And so we're down to the end on the hay, and I'm hoping I can show you a little bit of video here later on this afternoon of what's here and what's not here anymore. And again, I don't know how it is in your area. I'd be interested in comments on it, but there's a definite shortage here. If I had another 2,000 bales, 3,000 bales probably, I could sell them. It's the hay is that tight, and so I'll come back here a little bit later today, and we'll have a look-see around at how much hay I did move. All right, I spent a little time sorting out the hay. I have 2 customers that want 50 bales, and they've already paid for them, and they're going to come later to pick them up. And then I got a customer that is coming this afternoon. They need 36 bales, and this stack right here is 36. There's a stack over here that's 50 bales. It's actually a little more than that. And then over here is a stack of 50 bales. This is all our this is our really good hay, and so it's going out to horse customers. And then make my way over here a little bit. So from here down to the end of the stack, down to the end, that's pretty good hay too. The customer that's coming today, I have 3 customers. The second customer that's coming is going to take hay off of this stack, and I'll let them have as much as they can haul, as it's not accounted for. And typically we don't hold hay. The 2 people that we're holding hay for back here and on the other side of the barn, these are customers that have been with me, and like I said, their word is good, and so I'm willing to hold hay. And it's much more practical to hold hay now that we have a new barn, because our old barn, you just never knew what was going to happen, and we had some shelters with some vinyl covers on them. They were notorious, the covers, for peeling off in the high winds that we have up here. So at this point, I'm prepared to let all the hay go that I don't have set aside, and we'll see. And then I got a third customer that's coming. He wants hay for goats or sheep. I don't remember, but he'll probably take bales off of this stack right here. This is not Timothy hay. This is just hay that was, there's a little spot behind the old barn, and an old spot where we had a shelter. You'll probably see some of the skeleton of it in the video I'm going to show on another day. But this hay, it's just mixed grass. Nothing was ever planted there. It's whatever has grown. And then there's some more Timothy down here. Our primary hay is Timothy. As our field ages, we kind of call it a Timothy mix, and but overwhelmingly it's Timothy hay. And we're going to do some things to our fields next fall to kind of reinforce the Timothy or replant it. And we'll get into that with other videos. So at this point, I'm ready to go break some bread, and I'll come back and these customers will be here. I'll load them out and we'll see what we got left. All right, so we just had a hay customer leave, and we're done here for the day. The hay that was in here, the customer, there was 36 bales, and they wound up taking a few more off that stack to fill out their trailer at 42 bales. And the customer that was coming for some of the goat hay, they didn't come, and I haven't heard anything from them. I probably won't. The hay that was in here, this hay, all of that was in here, you can see in some of the pictures and earlier videos, that hay is gone. That was 80 bales. So we sold something on the order of 122, 80 plus 40, 122 bales. See if I can get through here. And so these bottom bales, some of them are actually okay. You know, we stack them with we stack these bales with a tarp. We, to the extent we can, we use pallets, but pallets are kind of a pain, and they break, and there's nails, and you know, eventually we want to put an asphalt floor in this barn. But the tarps seem to work for the most part, and what I do is, instead of checking every bale in front of the customer, it makes them really nervous. What I'll do is one by one, I'll flip these bales over, and if they're truly a good bale, then, you know, we'll put them back in the stack, and you know, nobody really knows that they're bottom bales, and the stigma that goes along with that. But if they're truly good and they have a good smell to them, there's nothing musty or anything, we'll put them out as regular horse hay for sale, because that's what it is. But we sold hay from this stack right here off of this stack, and then we moved out everything that was along in here and over against that stack of hay right there. There's 50 some bales there waiting for a customer to pick up, and then over there's another 50, and then I've got some Timothy here, and then over there down here I've got some what I would describe as just a mixed grass, some weeds in it. There's no briars or anything, and I'll show you. It's, you know, these bottom bales right here, they've got mold on the bottom. Some of them it's like really black, but as I mentioned, people will buy it. And I also talked about we had a field, and I'll have a video of it, with some briars, multiflora rose, and let me get over here. This is all the hardware for our sliding doors. There'll be a video on that coming. I'm hoping that'll be done here in the next week. We're kind of running out of time in 2019. These are some decent bales of Timothy here, but some of these bales that we baled with this thatchy looking hay, it had multiflora rose in it, and it had some autumn olive, and when you look, you can see the thorns. And you know, people tell me they're like, you know, my goats will eat that stuff. They like the woody stuff in the hay. As long as they're deciding that it's good for their animal and they want to buy it, I'm okay. But like I said, you know, there's a piece of autumn olive. But like I said, that's on them. And I had some of this hay one time, and a lady wanted to buy some. I mean, we priced it really cheap, but we priced it. We had some hay like this one time, and a lady wanted some for Halloween, and they were having some kind of trick or treat or something. I don't know what it was, but they were going to be sitting on the bales, and we'd pull out a bale, and they would have a big old sprig of autumn olive or multiflora rose in it like this. And I'd be like, yeah, I don't think you want that one. People don't need to be sitting on that. Hey, that right there is not a Timothy he had sliced in half from the baler. But we sell this stuff like really cheap, and it helps offset some of the diesel, and helps pay for some of the seed we'll use to replant it. And if people want to buy it, I really don't see any point in just mowing it down and putting it back in the ground. Some people might have a different opinion, but I'm the one paying for the equipment here, so even if I can get $1 a bale, something's better than nothing. And like I said, this is Timothy, and everywhere you look, there's the head. This is the good stuff. And a few more bottom bales over here. But the long and short is we're just about out of hay, and we'll have some customers probably come next weekend to pick up some of this. I'd like to have it all out of here by the end of the year. There is a shortage, and people that are aware of it, they acknowledge it. People that are not aware of it, they're going to painfully find out soon. Their wallet they're going to be sorely disappointed in the price of hay. And hopefully next year people will try to stock up in advance. Some people do. I don't know. One of the problems some of these customers have is they just don't have the storage to, put away 200 or 300 bales, and that's what they need. They just don't have it, so they have to pay a heavy price later. But as I said, we limit how high our hay is going to go. I mean, there are people right now in our area that have hay that's $2 and $3 higher in price than ours. And maybe I should do that. I don't want to be hateful about my hay sales, and I don't want to make the customer the enemy. And I'm trying to take a high road and have some repeat customers. We'll see what happens next year, but that's about all I have for the great hay shortage of 2019. We're going to be sold out soon. The snow's going to be flying, and we'll be sold out. We're anxious to get started on 2020. I'm hopeful we'll have a very good year. If you got comments about the hay situation in your area, I'd like to hear them. If you like the video, click the like button. If you'd like to see more of this kind of stuff, hit the subscribe button. And I think somewhere on that YouTube channel there's an Instagram button where you can click, and we post a few pictures and some like really short videos. And we'll probably have a Christmas video of some sort. But if we don't, I hope everybody has a great holiday, a great Christmas. I wish you all the best for 2020. Stay tuned. There'll be more videos to come. Like, subscribe, and we'll talk to you later.